So how do you make decisions when you are scared, when you're lonely, when you're confused? And most importantly, how do you make decisions when you know the decision is risky, but staying where you are is no longer viable, even if it feels safer? Everybody talks about reinventing yourself. It sounds glamorous, exciting, empowering. Like one day you wake up, decide to change your life, and everything starts falling into place. That has never been my experience, not once. When I got divorced, when I moved countries, when I started over in Europe, when I moved to Mexico, when I recently came back here to start over again at almost 59, none of those decisions felt empowering. Most of them felt terrifying. I was just trying to survive. And I think that's where a lot of self-help advice gets it wrong. Because when your life is falling apart, you're not thinking about becoming your highest self. You are thinking, how do I get out of this marriage with the least amount of damage? How do I protect my children? How will I pay my bills? Where am I going to live? What if I make the wrong decision? What if I'm too old to start again? That's the conversation I want to have today. Because every major change I made in my life started in exactly the same place: fear, uncertainty, and absolutely no guarantee that things would work out. The truth is, I don't know how you should do it, and I won't tell you how you should do it, but I can tell you how I do it. I build a strategy to survive. What does that actually mean? Let me give you an example. When I decided to leave my marriage, I didn't start by having the conversation. I started by gathering information. I went to a lawyer. I wanted to understand my options. What could happen? What were the risks? What did I need to prepare before making a move? Only after I understood the situation did I make a decision. Years later, when I moved to Mexico, I did exactly the same thing. Different situation, same process. Information first, decision second, action third. That doesn't remove the fear. It just gives me something stronger than fear to focus on. Every single time I look at my options, I look at my constraints, I figure out who can help me, I gather information, I think a lot, sometimes too much, and then eventually I move. I make the phone call, I have the difficult conversation, I buy the plane ticket, I pack the boxes, I sign the papers, I take the risks. Some people would say I take risks that are too big. I see it differently. I try to figure out which option gives me the best chance of moving forward over time, and then I commit. Even if I'm scared, even if I don't have all the answers, even if I know there is a chance I might be wrong. When I left my marriage, I was terrified. When I moved to Mexico, I was terrified. When I recently packed up my life and started over again, I was terrified. Fear was always part of the process. The question was always the same. Can I trust myself to figure things out? And when you do that, when you weigh your options, build your strategy, and commit to moving forward, something interesting happens. Even if every decision isn't perfect, even if every plan doesn't work, you start learning things about yourself. You learn you're more resilient than you thought. You learn you can solve problems you didn't know how to solve. You learn you can tolerate uncertainty. And perhaps, most importantly, you learn that getting knocked down isn't actually the problem. Staying down is. Life can knock you down. It has certainly knocked me down many times, but every time, eventually, I got back up because I refuse to believe that one bad chapter is the end of the story. And if you develop that muscle, that ability to get back up, to refuse to give up, you will never look at life challenges the same way again, ever. You will be free, free to move, free to leave, free to restart, free to build something new, free to live your life the way you want without needing permission from other people. Because you will know that whatever happens, you can count on yourself. And maybe that's the real truth about starting over. It is not about becoming someone new. It is about discovering what you're actually made of when life forces you to begin again. Now that's what I think. Tell me, what do you think about it?